Well, I was helping my predecessor, Luke Messer, so that, you know, the 6th District has changed quite a bit, but he was the 6th District from Greensburg. He was in for 6 years, and then he wanted to run for Senate, and I was his statewide finance chair. And as I was going around, people said to me, why don't you run? And so then some people talked me into it. Now, I was semi-retired, and I've been in politics behind the scene for a long time, so it wasn't a big stretch. And here I am now.
Yep, and this will be your second term going?
Third. We're going for our third. Probably life experiences, education, military service. You know, worked in this area all my life in southern Indiana. Served on the State Chamber of Commerce Board, served on IUPUC's board, served on, I was the Bartholomew County Chamber of Commerce chairman, been involved in a lot of religious and not-for-profit boards over I moved back to Indiana in 1988. So just my background, knowing the area, knowing the people, having served in a lot of other capacities. I think it's important that representatives that go to D.C. bring something to the table other than, I'll say, opinions or policy goals. I think you have, because constituent services is the most important part of our job, by far. Last year we handled 30,000 letters, emails, you know, texts, phone calls, and so, you know, that's what we really do for people. You take away the politics of it, and you've got to represent people against or for on behalf of the federal government. Inflation, inflation, and inflation, and I really do. That you can. I'm sure you're going to have other questions about other issues, but all we're hearing about, and all, whether it's the farmers, which I wrote a letter to the Biden administration with the other delegation from Indiana, or I'm on Energy and Commerce Committee, whether I'm hearing from all the energy companies, manufacturers, everyone is talking about the cost of everything. And the fact, and then if you talk to people that work for a living on an hourly basis, their problem is inflation has outstripped my increases in pay. And you know, this isn't anything new, but that's all we're hearing about. Some people say they'll say it's not inflation that bothers people, it's the economy going in the wrong direction. To me, inflation is at the heart of and the core of what the problem is in the direction of the economy. And you know, you see with inflation, I've talked to a lot of small business people here, just right here on this square. Their costs are eating into their profitability. A lot of restaurants are now struggling because of the cost of labor, the cost of paper, the cost of the food, and their sales are starting to dip. So I think I'm concerned that I believe we are in a recession, okay, and in stagflation. And it's not going to get better until we kind of bend some of the curves that can be bent. And one is in energy. Definitely, you know, continue with the constituent services. I know that sounds simplistic, but again, just my title is I'm representative of the Indiana 6th District, so we need to make sure that we represent folks. Legislatively is fight inflation, okay, and that would be vis-a-vis deregulation. We have to let the market come back in and solve some of these problems. We've really shut down, particularly in the energy world. I live in the county and I pay for my trash pickup. It's It's usually $60-some. Now, because of fuel surcharges, a week ago Sunday I paid $100.14 with $40 fuel surcharge. That inflation is also affecting the delivery of all the goods across the country. My electric bill is up over 50% because my natural gas costs have gone up, because we've stopped the development or expansion of natural gas in this country. And as I mentioned, in some cases, shut down coal plants before we had an alternative. So I'll focus on that very much. Deregulation will be my key. Even deregulation in the medical industry. You know, there's some things that are getting in the way of them being able to deliver care to patients as well. So I hear this constantly, that the federal government just keeps getting more and more involved in everyone's business.